We be live. Hi, everyone. Let me actually check if we have audio. Let me know if you're liking in the stream. Hold on. We have backup coming, by the way, to highlight the comments. Let me check the audio. Okay, we do have audio. Fantastic. So, great. People are here. Seed is here. Event 101 is here. D is here. Hi, guys. So, Alfred is not here to highlight your comments. However, we have backup on the way. I don't know. Okay, great. So, they are coming. Fantastic. But in the meantime, I will highlight your comments. I have some really amazing videos today. Let me actually put this on the screen. We're going to do Muslim reverts or converts. I don't know what you want to call them. Should we call them reverts? Because that's that's what they call themselves. These are people who just converted to Islam, and they're telling us why. And I think this is valuable. How's my audio? Can you guys tell me my audio is okay? Great. Yes, we be live. Exactly. I think it's valuable for us to do videos of people like her who have converted to Islam, just so we could see how this meme is spreading, how the virus is spreading, because this is like something that we need to understand. We can't just point to it and be like, oh, that's a problem. We actually have to understand how it works, how it operates, what are people finding convincing about it, why are people converting to Islam. In the same way, we have to understand why people leave Islam or why people live less Islamic lives. That is very important because that's the solution. That's part of the solution. But also the problem. We also have to identify and analyze the problem, which is again people converting to Islam. Oh, Alfred is here. Both Nemo and Alfred are here. Alfred, do you need? Should I ask Nemo to? Can you guys talk about it in the private chat, whether or not Nemo needs to be here or not? But thank you. You both are here to highlight. So, guys, your comments are now going to be highlighted by either Nemo or Alfred. So you get to be part of the show as well. Let me actually look at this video and figure out the context of this video before we start playing it. Which video is this one? This one is video number 5. And video number 5, this woman is a British convert sharing her revert story and prayers. Well, okay, so for people who are new here, revert means basically Muslim convert, and the reason why they call themselves reverts is because Islamically the understanding is that everyone is born a Muslim. And the reason why people are non-Muslims is because society has brainwashed them and has taken this knowledge away from them and has convinced them to leave. So as a baby, you're naturally a Muslim, and this society lies to you and you become a non-Muslim. So if you convert to Islam, you're basically going back to Islam. So they don't call themselves converts, they call themselves reverts. Okay, so let's go. Let me see if you guys. Okay, fantastic. Alfred is here. Alfred is highlighting. And Nima, thank you so much for always being ready to be a backup if Alfred can't make it. You're amazing. Anyway, so let's listen to her. And I'm going to play this video from beginning to end without pausing. And then we're going to go back and respond to it. So let's see what she has to say.
I'm thinking of reverting. Thought Salah is overwhelming. Yeah, I've been there.
All right, so before I play it from beginning to end without pausing, the context is that she is responding to this comment. So there's a comment on one of her videos or somewhere else. The comment is, do you ever have any problems keeping up with prayers generally? I'm consider reverting, but feel like salah, or as Persians say, salat or namaz, is a bit overwhelming. So as a Muslim, you're supposed to pray 5 times a day, technically 3 times a day if you're a Shia. And somebody's considering becoming a Muslim and she or he is finding it overwhelming. This woman who you're looking at is a Muslim, and she herself being a revert is now going to explain the situation to her. So let's see her advice.
I'm thinking of reverting. Thought Salah is overwhelming. Yeah, I've been there. I reverted to Islam 8 years ago, and I remember feeling the same way. You don't have to do everything straight away. For those that don't know, Salah, namaz is prayer. In Islam, it's something we've got to do 5 times a day, at specific times in a specific way. What really helped me to be able to do it and is understanding why you have to do it. And the reason why is because We are not here just for work, socialising, chores and cleaning, believe it or not. Muslims believe that we're here to worship God and to be tested and to do good deeds. The purpose of prayer, and I learned this from Yasmin Mojaahed's book Reclaim Your Heart, which I'd highly recommend. The purpose of prayer, yes, is to worship God, but it's also to remind us that this is not the reason why we're here. It's spaced out perfectly across the day so that we don't get so involved in worldly life that we forget the reason why we're here. It's a bit like meditation, really, in a lot of ways. My advice is to take it easy. It's a journey. You're not going to start being able to do everything. It's like learning to drive. You can't expect just to learn to drive straight away, but you've just got in the car. No Muslim is perfect, and all Muslims struggle with prayer. Even the ones that were born into the religion, even me after being, a revert for over 8 years, that's just the way it is. But the fact that you try and the fact that you are learning is amazing. So don't be so hard on yourself. Stop expecting yourself to be Schumacher when you've not driven before. Hope that helps. And if you've got any other questions, please just ask. There is no such thing as a silly question.
Okay, guys. I am going to tear this video apart. I don't even know if I'm going to have time for the other videos because I have so much to say about just this one. I'm going to try to do it quickly. But first thing that I need to highlight. Did you notice, guys, there's something about this video, and I'm going to give you a hint, that is not about anything she said, but I am going to connect it to everything that she said. Look at the video and tell me what is it that I'm going to highlight? And also, how am I going to connect it, even though it seems very irrelevant to what she said, but I'm going to connect it somehow. Look at the video. Tell me if you can guess what I'm going to highlight without actually listening to what she's saying. Just look at what you're saying, just visually, okay? And tell me what am I going to highlight? No, makeup, no. Somebody's saying makeup. Oh, somebody's saying, Armin, you're so handsome. Well, thank you. D is saying no hijab. No. That's D. That would be too obvious. Like how are you not going to notice that she's not wearing hijab? She's a Muslim. She has been a Muslim for 8 years, and she's still not wearing hijab. I mean, that if I wanted to highlight that would be just too easy. I'm not going to do that. Somebody's saying no. I'm not talking about. No, not that. No, is nobody noticing it? Is nobody noticing it? Is nobody noticing? Look at the screen. Is nobody noticing? It's not her makeup. It's not her lack of hijab. Her white teeth, no. Okay, I have to say it. No, it's none of that. How is nobody knows? No. Okay, let me give you a hint. Okay, it's genocidal. She is advocating for genocide in this video. Has anybody noticing it now? She's advocating for genocide. Have you now noticing? Is anybody noticing it? Now that I'm saying, I said it now. Am I really the only one that is noticing this? Yes. Thank you, Jack. Okay. Her necklace is the flag of Palestine, but with the map of the entirety of the area that we call Israel or Palestine. Yeah, that's her necklace. Look at it. It's the flag of Palestine, but not for Gaza and West Bank, but for all of Israel. So how did you guys not notice that? Okay, so, and again, now that she's asking for wiping out the entirety of Israel, the nation state of Israel, for basically she's asking for from the river to the sea. That's what she's asking for, right? Now that we have pinpointed the fact that she's asking for genocide, how do you think I'm going to relate that to everything that she just said? I will read the super chats after I make all the points. So let think about it. So she is talking about namaz or salah, or basically Islamic prayer, 5 times, Muslims praying 5 times, and her points is actually relevant. The points that she's making is actually relevant to her necklace, and I will tell you how. All right, so let's go from the beginning.
I'm thinking of reverting. Thought Salah is overwhelming. Yeah, I've been there. I reverted to Islam 8 years ago, and I remember feeling the same way. You don't have to do everything straight away. For those that don't know, Salah, namaz, is prayer. In Islam, it's something we've got to do 5 times a day, at specific times, in a specific way. What really helped me to be able to do it and is understanding why you have to do it and the reason.
Why do you have to pray? Why do you have to pray 5 times a day? So let's listen to her.
The reason why is because we are not here just for work, socializing, chores and cleaning, believe it or not.
We're not here. We're not on this. The point of this world is not for chores, cleaning, socializing, and all of these other stuff. Okay? These are the stuff, socializing, for example. These are what is the category of the things that she's saying we're not here for? So the reason why you're supposed to pray 5 times a day is for you to be reminded of, why are you here? What's the purpose of you being here? And she lists a whole bunch of stuff that it's not these. What is this category of things that she's highlighting? These are what we associate usually with living, with life, right? So life is not about focusing on this world. So the prayer is supposed to remind you that your attention and focus shouldn't be on worldly things. It shouldn't be on this life. It should be on the hereafter, on the afterlife. So it's supposed to align your focus on what matters. And she's correct about that. It's a constant reminder for you to realize that you're here to do what? She will tell you.
No. Muslims believe that we're here to worship God and to be tested and to do good deeds. The purpose of
to be tested for the afterlife. This is just a temporary life. Your focus should be Allah. The whole point of life is to worship Allah. And this life is temporary. It doesn't matter. The focus should be the afterlife. This is just a test for you to see. This temporary life is just a test to see what you deserve in an infinite afterlife, right? So what I don't know if she understands what she's saying, but what this basically means is that Islam is a death cult. Islam is a death cult that devalues life, because the entire focus, this is not about you. So we as humanists and we as liberals, so humanism shows our focus. We as humanists our goal is to improve the conditions of the life that humans have on this world, because this world is the only thing that we have. And so that's we as humanists, and we as liberals, we think liberalism is the best framework to improve the condition of humans. And this is why we're so anti-religion and anti-afterlife, because especially Abrahamic religions constantly want to reframe your focus away from this world, away from improving the human condition to an afterlife. Your entire life is for worshiping God. You do not matter. You are worthless. You are a tool to appreciate the greatness of Allah. That is what Islam teaches. This is basically what I call sneaky nihilism. Okay? This is sneaky nihilism. Because what is nihilism? Nihilism is an idea that devalues life. But Islam is sneaky nihilism because it acts like it's valuing a life, an afterlife, but it devalues this life that you have, but that other life doesn't exist. So what ends up happening is that it just devalues life. So it's a form of nihilism that it doesn't even look like nihilism, because it pretends that it's valuing a life. Right? So, but in effect, it's only devaluing the only life that we have. Right? So let's continue.
Prayer, and I learned this from Yasmin Mojaahed's book, Reclaim Your Heart, which I'd highly recommend. The purpose of prayer, yes, is to worship God, but it's also to remind us that this is not the reason why we're here. It's spaced out perfectly across the day so that we don't get so involved in worldly life that we forget the reason why we're here. It's
in worldly life. So worldly life is the only, madam, lady, worldly life is the only life you will ever have. If you don't care about worldly life, there's no other life for you to care for. Okay, so this is, guys, this is why this is so this ideology is so dangerous, right? I'm telling you that it's actually rational to be an extremist Muslim if your understanding is that this life is temporary and the other life is infinite. Then it's actually rational to be an extremist, to be a terrorist. Again, I'm not advocating for this, YouTube, to be a terrorist. I'm just saying that the premises of this ideology makes that conclusion the most rational. In fact, the moderate ones, the secular ones, the good Muslims, they are the ones who are being irrational. I would have been a radical Muslim if I actually believed in the foundation of Islam, because that would be the logical conclusion.
a bit like meditation, really, in a lot of ways.
So no, it's not like meditation. It's not like, oh, prayer, it's just like meditation. It's like meditation. No, it's not like meditation. Meditation is supposed to ground you, to focus. Look at, you just said that prayer is supposed to make you forget yourself, forget this worldly life, focus on Allah, focus, like lose attention from yourself and focus your attention on the afterlife and God. Meditation does the opposite. Meditation grounds depends on the type of meditation. We have so many different meditations, but at least many of them are supposed to increase the focus on, make you self-aware. It's self-awareness, is being aware of everything that is coming in and out of your mind. It's supposed to ground you to reality, to this world, not to completely self-destruct in the surface of another entity. So no, it's not like meditation. It's basically the opposite of meditation.
My advice is to take it easy. It's a journey. You're not going to start being able to do everything. It's like learning to drive.
Yeah, but guys, it's very difficult to self-destruct everything that you are and who you are as a person, and to sacrifice your entire world for a myth, right? For shadows, for superstition, for mumbo jumbo, to completely destroy your own identity and basically join the collective of people that, many Muslims are incapable. Many Muslims keep their identity and hold on to their humanity, because it's very difficult to completely and destroy yourself from within in such a successful way. It is very difficult. Islam is trying to eat you from inside, to take everything, to make you fully sacrifice everything, yourself, your family, your nation, for the sake of Allah. And that takes time. It's luckily for us, it's not going to be always as successful.
You can't expect just to learn to drive straight away, but you've just got in the car.
Yeah, you can't expect to just learn to just be completely anti-life, anti-humanity, anti-yourself. You cannot just expect for that to happen overnight. It takes time.
No Muslim is perfect, and all Muslims struggle with.
Almost no Muslim. Well, most Muslims are not perfectly Muslim, and that's why we have hope. Okay, that's why you shouldn't treat Muslims, badly, because most Muslims have maintained their humanity and they're good people, because Islam hasn't completely taken over their mind.
Prayer. Even the ones that were born into the religion, even me, after being, a revert for over 8 years, that's just the way it is. But the fact that you try and the fact that you are learning is amazing. So don't be so hard on yourself. Stop expecting yourself to be Schumacher when you've not driven before. Hope that helps. And if you've got any other questions, please just ask. There is no such thing as a silly question.
Actually, that's very silly. I heard people keep saying there's no such thing as a silly question. That's a silly statement. There are stupid questions, okay? Like, really, are you sure there's no there's no such things as a silly. How about if I ask you, do you happen to have an elephant in your mouth right now? Okay, is that not a silly question? Is that okay? Okay, is how about this? Is Spider-Man in the same room at you right now and having a cup of tea, right next to you while you're recording this video? Is that not a silly question? Like, what do you mean there's no such thing as a silly question? Who came up with that? Who came up with that statement? There's no such thing as a silly question. Oh, goddamn. Anyways, so how am I going to connect all of this to the necklace? Huh? How am I going to do that? How am I going to do that? How am I going to do that? Okay, here's how, right? Because this is the reason why we are here at this channel. We're both pro-Israel and pro-Palestinians, is because we care about people. We value life. We value the quality of life for everybody, for Israelis and Palestinians. We want people to live in peace, harmony, stability, with hope for their future, for themselves and their children and their loved ones. We want people to prosper in this life, in the only life that we will ever get, right? And we think people like her and all the other people who claim to be pro-Palestinian, they are a curse upon the Palestinian people, giving them, because these people have revolutionary fetish, and they're sacrificing the Palestinian people to satisfy their revolutionary fetish. They have spread an ideology of leftist revolutionary fever mixed with Islamism, for the Palestinian people, so that they could live in their comfortable lives, and through their experience of hardship, through the blood and tears of the Palestinian, they get to experience that suffering without really experiencing that suffering. So basically, it's a very perfect balance for them, right? Because how could I act like I'm a revolutionary and I'm speaking up to power and I'm fighting a fight against evil without actually having my roof being, falling down upon me, my children dying in bomb fire, me losing all my hopes and dreams for the future? How could I basically give, what is it called? Give that to somebody else. What is it when a company basically outsource? How do I outsource that to another group of people where they could have the suffering? I get not the suffering, but only have the part that I get to feel like I'm a freedom fighter, right? And this is what the whole point of the Palestinian people are. So for you to feel like a revolutionary without paying any of the costs, right? But for you to do that, for you to be able to take advantage of the Palestinians, you have to give them an ideology that celebrates death. That celebrates death, because nobody, look at all the other Islamic countries. The other Islamic countries, even though they're still Islamic, because they have some form of hope for the future, because their lives are improving, the desires of this world makes Islam not overcome them so fully. Like, for example, Egypt and Jordan, and some other countries, like even UAE, Bahrain, and even Saudi Arabia are making peace with Israel, right? Because even though they're Islamic, Islam is not completely taken over their mind. They actually care about this life. Their people care about their life. They need to improve people's conditions. But you need a small group of people to continue fighting that fight, so that you could take advantage of. Still, it's basically a market. How can I sell you this revolutionary fetish, but everybody else will move on and live their lives and improve their life, but we just sacrifice this small group of people for them to have the misery, so the rest of us could continue to live that revolutionary. This is a market. I want that feeling. How do I buy this feeling without paying a heavy cost for it? We make them do the suffering for us. But for them to do the suffering for you, they have to be convinced that life doesn't matter, that martyrdom is the best outcome that you could ever have, that the Palestinian people, that the people in Gaza are the luckiest people on earth. And I will cry for the fact that I'm not there, even though I could actually go there, but I'm not gonna. But oh my God, I wish I was there. I wish bombs were falling upon my head so I could be blessed with martyrdom. Because how lucky, like you heard Muhammad Hijab coming out and saying that the luckiest people on this world are the people in Gaza because they get to enjoy martyrdom and we don't get to, right? I mean, if you are, then why are you asking the world to stop? Like if the Gazans are so lucky that they become, I mean, if being a martyr is the best possible condition for a Muslim, then why would you even ask for ceasefire? Like, why are you asking for ceasefire? You should be wanting this whole situation to continue. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. But again, for the people in Gaza to continue fighting a hopeless fight. How do you convince a group of people to fight a fight that has no victory at the end of it? By convincing that they will have victory in the afterlife if they don't get it in this life. By shifting their focus away from this life to the afterlife. And that's how the call for genocide that she's advocating for with her necklace is exactly relevant to what she was saying about how prayer shifts your focus to what matters, the afterlife and God, away from the simple list, the category of things that he mentioned, the list of things that he mentioned. That's basically what we call here life. She said our chores, our socializing, basically the simple things that we have to do or enjoy, or basically life. She said that is not what we are here for. We're here simply to worship Allah. That means we don't matter. You don't matter. You only matter if you're serving Allah, and your mattering comes from worshiping and serving Allah. And how could you serve Allah or worship Allah more than through martyrdom or through suffering and being tested from Allah? This whole life is a test. And you're more blessed if you're being tested more. So the more you're suffering, the more you're being tested. So the more blessed you are. And who's being tested more than the people in Gaza? So truly they're the most blessed people on earth. This is how her sick ideology that she just promoted with Salah is actually relevant to the necklace that she's wearing. Nobody else will tell you these things, this is like, has anybody broken this down for you like this? Like the stream if you appreciate what I just told you. This is the fact. Like other people will tell you about, oh, look, they're doing wife beating. Look at this verse of the Quran. But I go to the core. I go to the core of what is. I go to the foundations of the other things that you're saying. I don't know, the wife beating, the calling for jihad, the violence, the calling people infidels, the jizya, all of those things that people mention. These are just the leaves. Okay, what I just told you is the root of the problem, and this is why Islam can't be reformed. Because when people try to reform Islam, they're trying to change the leaves, but the whole thing is rotten to the core. This is the core. Even the reformed versions of Islam, they have this core that I just mentioned to you. They have this core. So even if you change the leaves, it will still, other leaves that are problematic will grow out of it. Anyways. Now, by the way, I'm not dismissing other YouTube channels, right? So guys, I hope you don't think like I was dismissing other YouTube channels. Okay, so let me actually endorse some, because I don't want you to think like I'm saying here's how I would say. Okay, every one of us who is doing this is talking specifically about something that other people are not, right? So when I say who else is telling you this, I'm not saying the other YouTube channels that are exposing Islam are not as good as ours. Obviously, they are. They are doing something that we're not, right? So, for example, some of the YouTube channels that I would recommend you, right, is Infidel Noodle, Harris Sultan, Friendly Ex-Muslim, Apostate Prophet. And when I say I'm doing something that they're not, it's not to dismiss them, because they're also doing something that I'm not, right? So they're all amazing, and you should subscribe to them. Faithless Hijabi, right? So I'm like, together you get a better complete picture, right? So don't think I'm saying I'm better than them, but I am doing something that they're not, but they're also doing something that I'm not. So it's all good. So I hope it didn't come across as me saying that, oh, they're not good. They're amazing. They're amazing. They're all amazing YouTube channels, right? So let me actually go look at some super chats, and then I will. Oh, who's this guy? So we have a new member here. Thank you so much for being a member. I have to thank myself. Lat, thank you so much for the super chat. Lat is saying, Armin, talk about in life. Again, I'm just reading it how it's written. Okay, Iraq proposes law to reduce legal age of marriage for girls to 9. Also, Yazidi woman has been RAPE'd from the age of 14 in Iraq. Okay, so this might be something that we will cover in the news section. Okay, so I will bring this up with Susie. Susie's the one who does the news segment. Okay. Anyways, let's go to the next video. By this rate, I'm going to be able to do only 2 videos. Let me go with this one. All right, let's see what the context for this one. Oh, this is important, okay? And let me see what this video. What video number is this? This is number 3. Okay. So this is a woman who converts to Islam while a Muslim is talking to her, converts to Islam during a protest. Okay, so there's a protest, and this woman is talking to a Muslim, and right there and then, this Muslim talks to her about Islam, and she gets convinced, and she converts to Islam, and it's very emotional moment. So let's watch this together.
I've done things that I'm so regretful that I'm like, this is not me.
We can all sin. However, our Lord is most merciful. We don't need someone to come down to die for the sins of mankind. If you have sinned, no matter what, you simply make repentance. Oh, my Lord, forgive me. Yeah. God has created us weak. God knows we're prone to error. Yeah. Don't ever think that whatever you've committed is beyond God's forgiveness. God can forgive you. So we believe, you know what we believe, don't you, as Muslims? I invite you to Islam. Only one God. Worship God and God alone. I bear witness and I testify that there is only one God worthy of worship. And I testify that the Prophet Muhammad is God's final messenger. And with that, sister, you have become a Muslim. Subhanallah, Allahu Akbar. So all has been Allahu Akbar. You can express your emotions. Allah is watching. Allah knows that's in your heart. So don't feel weak. Feel empowered by your goodness and your piety, which is coming out.
Okay. So you notice she got so emotional. She was doing her shahadatain. She was testifying, and she was getting teary while she was doing it. And at the very end, she started just crying, right? So what do you guys think about that? So it's easy for you guys. Like, I could go on and say, I mean, how could this person convert to Islam? Like, what was the point? Like, what was the argument? We didn't hear anything. I mean, I could point to hypocrisy, because if that's what convinced her to become a Muslim, like, there was no argument, there was no rationality, there was no back and forth. Like, what convinced you? Like, this was purely emotional, right? And I could also point to the hypocrisy that if somebody leaves Islam in such a way, the same Muslims were like, okay, you just left Islam emotionally. You need to have, do you know this? Do you know that? How much do you know about Islam? Like, it's so, they accept somebody to become a Muslim with very limited knowledge and very limited arguments with no rationality. But if somebody wants to leave Islam, then the standards all of a sudden becomes like you have to have 4 doctorate degrees in ancient Arabic and Islamic history, and you have had to read the entirety of Quran and understood it, and had read the hadith and the tafsir, the commentary, and even that even then it's not going to be good enough. Like, oh, you don't know everything about Islam, so you're just like, oh, you were never a Muslim to begin with. Like, here's, if you left Islam, nobody leaves Islam. Nobody, they will say that nobody on the right man will leave Islam. And if you left Islam, I will ask you some very specific questions that most Muslims don't know. And if you get them wrong, that shows that you were never a Muslim to begin with. So that's the double standard and the hypocrisy that these people have. However, I'm not going to say all of that, even though I just said all of that. I'm going to pretend like I didn't say all of that, because I don't want to focus on that. Because if we focus on the rationality of this, we're missing the point. We're missing the point. And this is a problem with a lot of ex-Muslims and a lot of atheists, because they don't understand that this is not how the human mind operates. The idea of us going around and expecting people to be rational is treating humans like as if they're a machine, as if they're robots. Humans are a very social animal, right? And we have needs, and we need forgiveness, we need acceptance, we need to feel like we're important, we need to feel like we're being seen. And if you think you're being rational by pointing out somebody is being emotional, you're not actually being rational, because it's not rational to dismiss the emotional. We have to, and this is why we often fail. This is why our movement doesn't grow as much as it should, because a lot of us have left religion for rational reasons, and we now expect other people to do the same. And we don't understand that we are actually the black sheep. We are different. We are weird. We are the weirdos. Okay, we are the mutation in the evolutionary process of memes, and mutations are not supposed to be that high, right? If we rebels, if the black sheep of society, if we were a higher percentage of society would not be able to function. So we are not followers, right? Like we're not followers. We try to look at the world rationally and go our own way. If most people were like us, society will break apart. We actually need people to follow and just follow the rest of society for society to be able to function. So we are different. We are the weirdos. We are the mutation. And just like in mutation in biological process, if mutations were too much, then the animal will die. Okay, all of them will die. Mutations need to be a limited amount. So we have to understand how the human mind operates, and we have to accept, even though maybe many of us haven't chosen our path through emotional ways, we have to understand that that's not the rest of humanity. The humanity requires these needs, these emotional needs, to be satisfied. So I'm not saying that we should dismiss rationality, but we also have to accept the reality that we need to find a way to provide these emotional needs. If we just sit back and be like, haha, look at it, like, look, how could you not sympathize with her? Look at the fact that she's crying. It means that she was waiting for something. She needed this. This is why religion grows, because it understands. So you look at the irrationality of religion, because there is no rational support for what they are supporting, but you miss the rationality of religion, because that's not the point. The point is that they're answering the need that she has there. That's why the religious meme grows, and the atheist meme has a roof. Like it grows to a point, and then it doesn't grow after that, because you atheists, many of us atheists, miss the fact that we have to provide that emotional need. That itch needs to be scratched. Look at her reaction. And no matter how much you want to make fun of her irrationality, just hold on a second and realize that there's something empty in her that needs to be filled. And she is thirsty for that. She wants, and as soon as somebody comes and offers that need is so strong that she has no choice but to accept it. and you're not offering her anything else. So she's actually being rational, because she is being rational here when she's accepting Islam, because she's focusing on her needs, and she's living in a vacuum that nobody else is offering that. So why would you blame her? Is society providing her with something else to scratch that itch, to fill that hole? If not, then for her own self-preservation, as soon as somebody offers that to him, she has to accept it. We only have ourselves to blame if we only focus on rationality and don't provide an alternative. So listen to this again. Look at her emotion and tell me if you actually think she's being irrational. If this is making her feel that emptiness inside of her, if she thinks this is providing that need, then she has to accept it. It's our fault. It's not her fault that she's becoming a Muslim. It's our fault. It's our fault for not providing better alternatives. And what is that better alternative? What is that better alternative? You tell me. I've told you my opinion what it is on this channel. So listen to this.
I've done things that I'm so regretful that I'm like.
Just focus. So look at this. The Muslim man, you think he's being irrational, but look how clever he is, right? The focus on, she's talking about, she's ashamed. There's something inside of her that are bothering her about her past. And the Muslim man immediately talks about forgiveness. And that's exactly what she needs to hear at that point. There's a community of people, there's a group, there's an ideology, there's an identity that you could, with the cheap price of testifying that Allah is God and Muhammad is prophet, you get a new identity, you get a new community, and you get forgiveness. Why would she say no to that? And look how much she needs it.
I've done things that I'm so regretful that I'm like, this is not me.
We can all sin. However, our Lord is most merciful. We don't need someone to come down to die for the sins of mankind. If you have sinned, no matter what, you simply make repentance. Oh, my Lord.
So see, he's actually clever, because if you talk about forgiveness, this Muslim man is genius. You might want to make fun of Muslims for being stupid, for having stupid beliefs. I would say this Muslim man immediately know what he had to say. Because if he wants to talk about forgiveness, people's minds immediately goes to Christianity, because Christianity has monopolized the market of forgiveness. Their obsession is with forgiveness. And he knows if he wants to talk about forgiveness, he has to compete with another market called Christianity, which is very good at marketing their forgiveness brand. So he says that we also sell this product. So Christianity is like, oh, we have a product called forgiveness. All your past sins will be forgiven if you accept us. And it's like, well, we also have that, and it's actually better, right? So he's saying like this market also have forgiveness, but let me tell you why you shouldn't buy the Christianity forgiveness and you have to buy the Islam forgiveness. Because it's actually, he's saying it's more easily accessible. That's what he's saying, right? He's saying we don't need a guy coming down and, suffering. You think Allah is accessible. You don't need to actually torture a man for forgiveness. You could just, Allah is directly, you don't have to get the forgiveness path through Jesus, okay? Allah is there always. You could just ask him and that he will forgive you without any acts of torture or crucifixions needed. That's what he's saying. Again, this is all based on magic, so you could make stuff up as you go.
If you have sinned, no matter what, you simply make repentance. Oh, my Lord, forgive me. God has.
But look, let's go a little bit backwards, because you can see how clever he is. He just, without mentioning Christianity, he also dismissed Christianity's forgiveness and promoted Islam's forgiveness. This is very clever.
However, our Lord is most merciful. We don't need someone to come down to die for the sins of mankind. If you have sinned, no matter what, you simply make repentance. Oh, my Lord, forgive me. God has created us weak. God knows we're prone to error. Don't ever think that whatever you commit.
So this is genius, because religions constantly talk about how evil mankind is and how disgusting humans are, right? And make you feel ashamed of what you are and who you are. But also they will if you come to their club, if you join their community, God will take responsibility for that, because God will like, you are disgusting, but here's the thing, I made you that way, so I could forgive you for all of that. So you make you feel disgusting, but you could also wash all of that away, just if you just accept me, accept Jesus, accept Allah, it will just all go away. It's the most clever marketing tactic in the whole world. You create a disease, you create a sin and shame, and make humans feel the worst of themselves. So this is an imaginary disease that you create, and then you sell the cure yourself with a very low price. I mean, the price comes after you join, but at the beginning, the price is very, very low.
It is beyond your God's forgiveness. God can forgive you. So we believe, you know what we believe, don't you, as Muslims? I invite you to Islam. Only one God. Worship God and God alone. I bear witness and I testify that there is only one God worthy of worship. And I testify that the Prophet Muhammad is God's final messenger. And with that, sister, you have become a Muslim. Subhanallah, Allahu Akbar. So Paul has been there, Allahu Akbar. You can express your emotions. Allah is watching. Allah knows that's in your heart. So don't feel weak. Feel empowered by your goodness and your piety, which is coming out.
You just witness, when she's crying, you just witness why they win and we fail. If you want to win, if you want to win against Islam, you have to find something that does that. You have to, the feeling that she had right in that moment, the sense of forgiveness, the sense of a new chapter, a new opening for her in her life. If you cannot find it, like just calling Islam lies, it's not going to do that. If you do not find something that could do that, then we're doomed. We have to find something that could just do that without lies. Without lies. Can we do that? Can we find something? This is what we're trying to figure out here together on this channel. What do we have that does that? Anyways, let's go to the next video. So what is this video? This is video number 1. So this is a woman who converted from, no, not this one, the woman on the other side, this woman. From Christianity, she converted from Christianity to Islam, and she's being interviewed by this first woman, and she will explain you why she converted to Islam from Christianity. So let's listen to that. Let me actually see. Okay, good.
The fact that you went in from Christianity and transitioned into Islam, what were the things that you perhaps didn't align yourself completely with Christianity that helped navigate your journey towards Islam?
Actually, as a Christian, the deeper I got into my faith, the more questions I had, and I started to be a bit more confused as I was going along. I was going to Bible studies and going to church every Sunday, and I'm not saying that's what makes you religious, but as I went along, I started to have a lot of questions that were unanswered. Actually, the Quran started answering those questions for me, like questions about who is Jesus and is Jesus really God, and these kind of questions. I always had them on my mind. And also another question I had was, are Christians the only people that will get into heaven? And the Quran started answering those questions for me. And one thing that always confused me as a Christian was, like, how can Jesus, peace be upon him, be God if he doesn't know what's going to happen to him on the crucifixion day? I was reading the Bible and it said that he was sweating blood because he was so nervous about what's going to happen. So I'm thinking to myself, if Jesus was God, then how is he nervous about what's going to happen? And from the other side, how can God die? And from the other side, I'm thinking, like, if we put God into a human time frame, which has a beginning and an end, then God would have a beginning and an end. But God is infinite. So to me, it feels that we're somehow limiting God.
Okay, so let's listen and let's answer her all the way. I mean, I agree that these problems with Christianity that she says, but they Islam as well. So I don't know how she studied Islam without noticing all of that. Let's go through
The
it.
fact that you went in from Christianity and transitioned into Islam, what were the things that you perhaps didn't align yourself completely with Christianity that helped navigate your journey towards Islam?
Actually, as a Christian, the deeper I got into my faith, the more questions I had, and I started to be a bit more confused as I was going along. I was going to Bible studies and going to church every Sunday, and I'm not saying that's what makes you religious, but as I went along, I started to have a lot of questions that were unanswered. Actually, the Quran started answering those questions for me.
Okay, so it's not very it's not a big deal. You haven't done that significant of a thing if you answer questions. Okay, the answer is not the issue. The reasons for that answer is what you need. Because I could just mix, like, if you have a question that is not being answered and then I come and answer it for you, you shouldn't be satisfied that I answered it for you, because I could have just made that up. You should be asking for the reasons for why my answer is correct, because everybody has answers. I mean, it's so easy. I mean, everybody can come up with answers. It's very easy to come up with answers. But the justification for that answer, that's what you should be asking for, not the answer itself. I mean, especially when you're in La La Land, when you're religious and magic is real, then anything can go. Like, I could just make anything up because I'm not constrained by objective reality. Like, who's to say like this or that? Like, just give me your question, and if you don't care about the justification for my answer, I could answer anything. I mean, my hands are not tied with reality. I mean, I live in an imaginary world. Anything like your limitations are just how creative you are. Like, I could come up with answers with just the power of imagination. Okay, just imagine things, and I will just have answers for everything. So here, what's your question? I will have answers for you.
Me, like questions about who is Jesus and is Jesus really God, and these kind of questions. I always
Okay, you're like, yeah, Jesus. So Christianity has an answer for that. Who is Jesus? Jesus is the Son of God and God at the same time. And is he God? Yes, he's God. Like, how? That's the answer. So what's the problem?
had them on my mind. And also another question I had was, are Christians the only people that will get into heaven? And the Quran started answering those questions for me.
Okay, well, what's the answer? I have the answer. So what's the issue? So Christianity says no, non-Christians are not going to go to heaven. It clearly says that. I mean, in the Book of Revelation, for example, I remember that also we're going to hell. So you didn't like, yeah, non-Christians are going to go to hell according to Christianity, and you didn't like that answer, and you went to Islam. Because Islam, I mean, and you read the Quran, right? The Quran also says that non-Muslims are going to go to hell. So how did you like that answer more? That's just basically the same answer. Christianity says non-Christians are going to go to hell, and Islam says non-Muslims are going to go to hell. So how, guys, am I missing something here? How is the Islamic answer a better answer? I mean, neither of them actually provide an explanation for why. I mean, they say why, but there's no evidence for their claims. But let me see, actually, here. I was looking for this while she was talking, because when she said that, I'm like, what the hell? The Quran says the same thing. Here, let me show you. So this is Quran chapter 3, verse 85. It says, if anyone seeks a religion other than Islam, which is complete devotion to God, because Islam means submission, guys. When complete devotion to God means Islam, right? Islam doesn't mean peace, by the way. Islam means submission. So tell people that. So complete devotion to God, it will not be accepted from him. He will be one of the losers in the hereafter. So if you have choose any option, any religion other than Islam, you're gonna go to hell. So why was the Islamic answer? Guys, am I missing something? Why is the Islamic answer? Let me actually listen to this part again. Like, I didn't like, because to me it seems like she's saying, I didn't like that Christianity was telling me that non-Christians are going to go to hell, so I picked Islam instead. Well, now non-Muslims are going to go to hell. How is that an improvement?
Answering those questions for me, like questions about who is Jesus and is Jesus really God? And these kind of questions, I always had them on my mind. And also another question I had was, are Christians the only people that will get into heaven? And the Quran started answering those questions for me. And
yeah, no, the Quran's answer is like, no, it's the other way around. All Christians are going to go to hell, except the Christians who do not believe in the Trinity. Okay, the Christians who, there are specific group of Christians who will make it to heaven. Okay, the Christians who have not heard about the Quran, okay, who have remained Christians because they have not heard about the Quran, and while they're Christians, they don't believe in the Trinity. I don't know how many Christians are out there in the world who haven't heard about the Quran, and while they're still Christian, they don't believe in the Trinity. I think there must be 2 of them out there somewhere. But those Christians, they will go to heaven, the 2 of them, or maybe 3. The rest of them are going to go to hell, right? Right.
one thing that
No, they would not get a pass because they have heard about the Quran. So no, like I mean, if they don't believe in the Trinity but they have heard about the Quran, that is not acceptable. If you heard about the Quran, you have to be a Muslim now.
always confused me as a Christian was like, how can Jesus, peace be upon him, be God if he doesn't know what's going to happen to him on the crucifixion day? I was reading the Bible and it said that he was sweating blood because he was so nervous about what's going to happen. So I'm thinking to myself, if Jesus was God, then how is he nervous about what's going to happen? And from the other side, how can God die? And from the
Well, I mean, to be fair, if you read the Gospels, in some of them, he seemed like he was pretty upset about the fact he was being crucified. It was Dad, how have you done this? why have you abandoned me? Like, what the hell? This was not part of the plan. So that's some of the Gospels, and the other Gospel, the later ones, is like, oh, this is completely according to the plan. Don't worry, I'm gonna be king in heaven after this. This is a-okay. I'm completely okay with being crucified. Okay, so the Gospels are basically choose your own adventure. The Gospel that you pick determines how powerful Jesus was. Okay, so if you read the earlier Gospels, Jesus looks more like a man, and if you read the later Gospels, Jesus is more godlike. So he basically he leveled up. Jesus leveled up from the earlier Gospels to the later Gospels. He leveled up, okay, from man to God, from demigod to God, from man to demigod to God. So we have all kinds of Jesus. We have the human Jesus, we have the demigod Jesus, and we have the God Jesus. Which one do you prefer, right? So we have, but again, I'm not here to talk about Christianity, because if you think God is limited, I actually will show you that God in Islam is limited as well. So let's look at the
other side. I'm thinking, like, if we put
so people say, why have you forsaken me? When Jesus said that this is basically saying, Dad, why you've done this? Why have you done this? That's what basically what this means, okay? But if you read the later Gospels, he's like, he's telling people, like, don't worry. Like, this is the earlier Gospels. Is like, why, what the fuck is happening? That's what Jesus was saying. Like, this was not supposed to happen. I don't like to be crucified. Okay, but if you read the later Gospels, Jesus is like, yeah, don't worry. I'm going to be in heaven in 3 days after this. I'm going to be risen up again, and after that, I'm going to be king in heaven. And this is fine. This is what I wanted to begin with, right? So again, it's it's different. But anyways, let's focus on Islam here.
God into a human time frame which has a beginning and an end, then God would have a beginning and an end. But God is infinite, so to me, it feels that we're somehow limiting God.
Okay, so basically, I mean, the Christian's explanation for that is that God is limiting himself in the form of man because he wanted to experience being a man, right? Because he wanted to, like, God lowered himself, so it was a limitation, but it was a self-inflicted limitation that God put on himself. So that's a Christian explanation for that. But again, you could see the same limitation that God has, in Islam. Let me see which one. For example, I will show you, and you tell me how am I going to explain that this is a limitation, right? So it says, such was God's practice in the past, and you will find no change in God's practices. This is Quran chapter 48 and 23, right? So by saying this, basically God now cannot do certain things. Do you understand how this works? Because God does not lie, cannot lie. The Quran is supposed to be all true. And because God is saying that his practices are not going to change, if God changes his practices, then the Quran has to be false. And the Quran cannot be false. So God is now forced to not change his practices. Because if he changes practices, the Quran will be false, and the Quran, Islamically, the Quran cannot be false. So basically, God is now completely limited to continue his practices in the same way that he had in the past. He's enslaved to his own revelation, right? And for example, we have so many, like I just choose two, but there's so many verses like that. So this one, it says, this is Quran chapter 112, verse 3. He says, he begot no one, nor was he begotten. So basically, lam yalad walam yulad, right? He's saying God will never basically have a child, or will never have a parents, or who will never give birth to a child. So by saying this, God now can't have a child. So you could no, Armin, if he wanted to, he could. No, because if he could, then the Quran has to be false. God cannot say something that is false. God cannot be false. So either God has to be false, say something that is false, or he cannot have a child. Because by having a child, if he wanted to have a child, he could not, because that would contradict his other nature. So God's nature, according to Islam, cannot lie, which is also another limitation on God. Every single of God's attributes are a limitation on God. So if you say God is merciful, and that's in his nature to be merciful, but by saying that's his nature, you're saying that God cannot be not merciful. So that's a limitation on God, right? And if you say God can't have a child, by making that within the nature of God for him not to be able to have a child, well, that's a limitation on God. So these are all limitations. Islam introduces a lot of limitations to God. I mean, the 99 names of Allah in Islam, each one of them mentioning a specific attribute of God, that's 99 limitations of God. Because if it's the nature of God, that means that God cannot be anything else but those. It requires to have those attributes. And if it doesn't have those attributes, it wouldn't be God, so God is limited. Do you understand what I'm saying? The 99 attributes of God are 99 limitations of God. So God is limited in Islam. Anyways, this is me destroying your Islam inside out. Did I blow your mind? I hope that lady just comes and watches this and come up with an explanation. If you left Christianity because you understood God to be limited in Christianity, well, I just showed you how God is limited in Islam as well. Your only choice is to be an atheist. Anyways, if you appreciate me logically destroying Islam with facts, then like this channel, like this video, like this stream, leave a comment, tell me how you appreciate what I'm doing. That really boosts my energy. If you don't have anything to say, just say for the algorithm, or say for the YouTube gods, because the comments boost this channel and makes us grow. Recommend this channel. Please do that. Okay. And also give me some opinions on what you think is the emotional aspect that we need to be working on. I in the past couple of years, I have come up to the belief that the best way that we could promote an emotional response and fulfill the emotional needs that humans have naturally is through nationalism, through patriotic beliefs, to patriotic emotion and sense of community. That's what we have to work on. That's the modern way of responding to these emotional needs. Nothing else provides, and it's not based on falsehood. Unlike religion that satisfies these needs based on falsehood, nationalism and patriotic tendencies fulfills all of these needs, and it does not rely on falsehood. This is what I think we need to focus on, and that's what I think is the solution. So let me know what you think, and let me know your opinions in the comments. I try to spend a lot of time reading the comments. I don't read all the comments, but I read a lot of the comments, okay? Oh, wow, we got a super chat. So thank you so much, Mary, for the super chat. I appreciate the super sticker. Thank you. No, Alfred has highlighted some of the comments. Let me actually read those really quickly. Carl is saying, is that the noodle eating girl? No, it's not. The Infidel Noodle is another ex-Muslim YouTube channel that you guys need to check. And I'm pretty sure she's not eating noodles because she has a mask. So she's not going to be able to eat noodles in her streams, okay? Because she's wearing a mask. But if she was eating noodles, I would definitely watch that. Ezra is saying, I think the noodles refer to her hair. I'm not sure. Ezra is saying, thank Alan or Allah. She's not eating this time. Oh, thank Allah. You're talking about her. She was, she was not eating food this time. Yes, but I was supposed to review another video of her today. And it was this one. I didn't get the time to do that. Maybe another day. Hold on. Let's bring it up.
People treat women.
So this one she's eating. I don't know why she's eats in a lot of her videos. She's eating something. Do you guys want me to do that? So thank Alan that she wasn't eating. Okay, yeah. But sorry, in the next video that I'm going to review of her, she is eating something. Okay, so somebody saying she wants attention and it's not serious. Guys, that is not a proper response. When you say somebody is doing something because she wants attention, that's not a good way of dismissing somebody, because seeking attention is a human need. This is part of nature. We are social animals. Of course they're seeking attention. It's human to seek attention. It's human to seek attention. So don't dismiss people for seeking attention. You have to accept the fact that they're seeking attention. It's human to seek attention. You just have to provide them a better alternative to get that attention. If you say people, oh, she's just seeking attention, then you are not going to be taken seriously by them, because of course they want attention. And if you are going to dismiss their requirement for attention away, then they're not going to see you as part of the movement that gives them that attention. You have to find, you're like, oh, you want attention? We have that. Like, if you say good things, if you join our side, if you join our tribe, we will give you that attention. Don't dismiss that desire. Actually feed that desire, but with something that is not as toxic as Islam. Feed the attention-seeking desire instead of dismissing it. This is what I'm saying. We need to actually accept these emotions and lean into them. Imran is saying, what about Sufis? They love life and people and believe in afterlife. Imran, Sufis are the guiltiest of them all when it comes to dismissing this life. Sufism, again, many Sufis are not completely taken over completely by the disease that is Sufism. That's why many Sufis love life, just like many Muslims love life. Okay, many Muslims love life, but Islam does not love life. Islam loves the afterlife. Many Sufis do love life, okay, but Sufism itself is about the destruction of self entirely. This is the foundation of Sufism. The difference between the different versions of Islam and Sufism is that Islam, like many other religions, is dualist, but Sufism is monist. So So Islam wants to. So Sufism's self-destruction is actually more complete than Islam, because Islam destroys you and brings you down to the point where you are only an entity that is supposed to appreciate the greatness of Allah. You are nothing but a tool to worship and appreciate the worship of Allah. And you will continue to exist as an entity. And your greatness is only going to be through the greatness of Allah, through recognizing you're just going to, as long as you reflect the greatness of Allah, you have no greatness independently from within you. You could only reflect the greatness of Allah and worship Him. That's the entirety of your point. But you will still exist as a separate entity. Sufism, on the other hand, wants to completely annihilate you, destroy you fully. The whole point of Sufism and mysticism is to kill the ego, to eliminate the ego, eliminate the self. You will melt into God. Everything is God. There is no such thing other than God, and you existing as an entity is an illusion. That is a more complete path to self-destruction than Islam, than traditional Islam. So no, Sufism sucks. So when I say Islam is dualist, it means that Islam is like there's God, and then there's the creation of God. And as a creation of God, you will continue to exist even after death. And God is separate. But monists, they're like, there is no such thing other than God. Everything is God. And you think that you're not God. You're part of God. And you will melt into God once you're enlightened, like a drop of rain that goes back to the sea. And you will merge within it and you will stop existing. How is that celebrating life? Your life doesn't even exist for it to be celebrated. The whole point is to destroy the ego. Anyways. Oh, thank you. Somebody's saying, thank you, Armin, our master. Okay. Uguay? Okay. Is that how you say that? Care Fear is saying, Armin, maybe you can do series on the psychology of belief. I don't know, maybe. You guys let me know in the comments if you would like that. Anyways, I have to go because we're getting too much over 1 hour. But thank you, everybody. Thank you to Alfred for highlighting the comments. Thank you to Dolly for selecting these videos for me to review. Thank you to Nima for coming here and being a backup because Alfred might have not been able to make it. And thank you to all of you guys who like the stream, who leave a comment, who have subscribed, who hit the bell notification, and who tell other people to come and subscribe to Atheist Republic on YouTube. If you're watching, thank you, Alfred. And if you're watching us on Twitter, because I know a lot of people are watching us, there's 400 people who are watching us on Twitter, please make sure that you come to YouTube. It's more fun on the YouTube side. It's more fun on the YouTube side because you get to be part of the comments and you get to, you get highlighted. You chat with the other people here. So come and subscribe to us on Atheist Republic on YouTube. Oh, by the way, GJ is here. GJ is saying Islam equals 1400-year project to conquer Earth. Fight it. Thank you so much, GJ, for your 23-month membership. Yes, we should fight it. Fight this disease. We need to win, guys. This is a very dangerous ideology. Do not underestimate it. Do not just dismiss it as something irrational. It's actually the claims might be irrational, but the methodology in which it spreads is very, very rational. So don't underestimate it by just looking at the claims and thinking, okay, these claims are ridiculous, so I don't need to worry. You need to worry. All right. Thank you, guys, and until next stream. Bye.